Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Allie Clifton. James Worthy, Robert Ory, Mike Bresnan, and Mike Trudell will be handling the post-game locker room in Indiana. Tough one for the Lakers as their 5-game win streak comes to a halt. Currently 2-1 on their 6-game road trip. And it was a bit of a tale of 2 games, if you remember, between these 2 teams. Just 5 days ago, the Lakers get the job done here in L.A. against the Pacers, 150-145. And despite them entering tonight, the Lakers, with the 3rd best offensive rating here in the month of March, big game at 120 a game, their offense, it stalled. How about this? Not only was this just the 4th time being held under 100 points this season, it was a season low in points at just 90. They're 5 of 30 from deep. 5 made threes is their 2nd lowest on the season. You tip your cap. Maybe, as Mike Trudell mentioned, it is 3 and 4 nights for the Lakers. You don't want to make excuses. That is only the reality. But the Pacers certainly capitalized.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to make excuses. Everyone has to go through that type of schedule at some point. And, I think the Lakers mentally, they were trying to play hard. But sometimes you just, I think being on the road, I think it caught up with you. It's indicative to me with the 5 of 30 from 3. They just could not get close to that. And, Indiana played very well. They had all 5 starters in double figures, and, they were home. Yeah, I don't like to write off any game, but, the fact that they won 2 already and they run into a little buzzsaw in Indiana, I don't want to just give it away, but let's go to the next one and see if we can get that. Indiana's a good team. They play well at home.
I think when you talk about the 3 and 4 nights, though, you looked at the 3 ball, as you mentioned. They just look short. Some uncharacteristic misses at the rim.
Yes.
Maybe some heavy legs.
I look at, AD around the rim. He missed a lot of easy shots. I look at some miscues between AR and LeBron. That comes from being mentally tired. I think sometimes this late in the season, when you have 3 games and this many nights, it can weigh on you, and especially when you go to Indiana. Indiana is one of those basketball towns, and Indiana, these guys, they remember 2 things: the last game we played against you and the in-season tournament. So you can see these guys come out with a lot of energy. They play with a lot of effort, especially TJ. TJ came out the bench, and he was inspired. He went at them tonight, and he outscored our bench by himself. So that's one of the things you have to look at. When you are tired as a starting 5, you need some energy from the bench, and the bench for us tonight was kind of lackluster.
Yeah, this game reminded me maybe of one in late December, maybe after the Lakers had already won the in-season tournament, maybe early January. There's some of the same symptoms. Lakers outscored by 15 behind the arc. D'Angelo Russell not shooting well. Remember, he was having trouble not long after the in-season tournament. Lakers unable to establish themselves in the paint. So a couple little symptoms that, thankfully for the Lakers, James, they have not been around lately. They've been hitting their threes. D'Lo's been great. They've been establishing pretty good presence in the paint. So it's just a one-off in my mind. They're still 2-1 on this road trip. We'll see what Phoenix does in their huge games coming up, a very brutal schedule. I'm not saying goodbye to the Lakers finishing in 8th. It would have been a lot more helpful had they won tonight. But still, you take this one, you throw it away. As Kobe would say, you flush it, and that's it.
I think the next game they play will tell us about this game. I think if they come out fresh again, playing the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks, it'll tell us that everything we've been saying. A little fatigue maybe, and you got to give Indiana credit, too. They were ready for them.
You do. Just to kind of capitalize on that, as you mentioned, all 5 starters in double figures. Tyrese Halliburton had 21, 8, and 8. He had been struggling, obviously, trying to get out of his shooting slump that he has been in recently. But nonetheless, then you got TJ McConnell with the 16, the plus 20 off the bench. Just tough for the Lakers. I do want to ask, just because Stu mentioned it and you guys are talking about it, when you flush it, you put it behind you, you bounce back. You have the 3 teams coming up, Brooklyn, Toronto, and Washington. How do you do that as a player, understanding at this stage of the game what needs to happen for you?
First, you have to take it like that. The opponents you're playing aren't that good. They're not even in the playoffs. So you got to say, hey, we got to jump on this team early, and we can't do what we did in Indiana, just kind of mess around, muddle around, and let this team stay in, and then next thing take the lead. Because you look at teams like Toronto, 10% caliber. Washington, not so much. But you got, in Brooklyn, they got one of the tough young teams. So you got to go in there with the right mindset. And that's the whole thing when it comes to the end of the year. It's not the physical part of it. It's the mental part. Mentally, you have to be ready for the game. You got to be ready for your opponent and know, hey, we're a really good team. If we jump on this team early, and then we can load manage in the 4th quarter, which I love, because if these guys don't do that, then they have to play 35 to 40 minutes at this late in the season. You don't want that.
And you set the tone early, too. I mean, I can remember conversations when we would lose a game. I mean, we rarely lost back-to-back, but when we did, you know, as soon as Magic or Cooper or somebody, as soon as we got on the bus, we would call attention to everybody and say, look, we got to take care of these next 2 or 3. We always made it a collective effort to remind each other we cannot stay in this mode. So I think the Lakers are capable of that. This Laker team, they've bounced back before. I think they know where they are in the standings, and they have great leadership in LeBron. And so we'll see. We'll see if they snap back in this next game with the type of energy that we're used to. We'll know that they've been on the road. That third game was a little tough for them. Snap back.
Yeah, I mean, had they not won 5 in a row and won a big game in Milwaukee a few days ago and followed it up with another big game against a poor Memphis team, but no AD in that game, the Lakers won that one going away.
Yeah.
The offense has been out of control good for the Lakers. So the fact that they had this output tonight, okay, you can chalk up to bad shooting, fatigue, inability to establish down low. You say, all right, it's been a good couple weeks for us. It's okay. If I'm Darvin, that's exactly what I'm telling the guys. Hey, we'll figure it out in Brooklyn in a few days.
So you guys know, over the course of an 82-game season, you have a couple of these every now and again. Let's head back to Indiana. Darvin Ham is speaking with the media.
Darvin, you guys scored 90 points tonight, which was a season low. I guess, was it just an off night off of the offense, or just what did you make of the offense overall?
Yeah, I thought we were, running in mud a little bit. Third game, 4 nights. A double OT game in Milwaukee, play against a physical Memphis squad. You come in and it's like the Indy 500, as fast as they play. So it's a combination of a lot of different factors. We were trying to post and take advantage, try to get work done in the paint, and a lot of times, they're jamming us up, different schemes, showing the crowd. Just didn't have a lot of pop on the offensive side of things. And, guys missed shots. Some guys missed shots they normally make, had good looks, and just didn't go down. And a couple other times, just us trying to force our will in the post or to the paint, we got out of rhythm a little bit. And so a lot of shots came up against the clock. But, overall, we've been playing some great basketball. We'll get our treatments, we'll get our nutrition, our recovery going, and be ready to bounce back on Sunday.
You mentioned the third game in 4 nights, and you put 150 on this team not too long ago. Did you see them just defensively, intensity-wise, step up?
Absolutely. They had bodies flying around everywhere. Do a great job protecting the rim. And again, we missed a ton of shots we normally make. So part of it is defense, of course, and the other part is just us missing shots we normally make. But we knew they'd be coming out ready to go, and they were. And so we fought as long and as hard as we could, and then the bottom just fell out, so to speak.
How did you think AD was moving physically coming off of the game missed with the knee? Yeah,
you could tell he was running with a little gingerly. It got better in the second half as the game wore on. His body got a lot warmer. But my hat's off to him. The kid's a trooper. He wanted to be there for his team, and he was, and he gave all he could give, and that's why he is who he is. He cares.
You guys had that one stretch in the fourth where you cut it to, I think, 7, I want to say, and then they went on a little run to kind of push the lead back up. What did you see kind of in that stretch that sort of turned the game when you guys seemed like you had some momentum?
Just
there?
Faster, more pace. Something we really got to lock in on. When we play with pace and we play downhill toward the paint, we're a very difficult team to stop. And we just got to be more consistent with that.
Darvin, what's the top line item as you start to transition into that Brooklyn game and kind of get a day's rest and start to think about trying to start another winning streak as you close the season?
Just going back and looking at the film, seeing ways we can get better, different things that we can do to improve upon defensively, offensively, and look at the things we've been doing well. It won't just be like a one-off where we just watched this Indiana game. We'll go back and look at a few games we played here recently and put together a film for us to watch and, again, try to grow from and get better from and, be ready to suit them up on Sunday.
Sorry, Darvin, I apologize if you addressed this already. And never really felt like you guys had the kind of energy or juice that you guys have maybe had over the last 8 or 9 games. Anything to that? Do you think? I mean, I guess
3 games in 4 nights.
I was just gonna say in January, like maybe like that. This type of stuff happens. Is it disappointing that you guys couldn't quite break through?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, you coming off a double overtime win versus one of the better teams in the league. Team is top 5 easily in the league, and then you go to Memphis. You know, had a difficult year with injuries, but still play